Sometimes what you're running from isn't the person, it's the reflection they show you. You feel like it's easier to walk away than stay and face the mess, because walking feels clean, but staying means confronting the confusion, discomfort, or even pain. But here's what most people miss. We're not always escaping others. We're often escaping ourselves. When someone gets too close, too real, they trigger parts of you that were never healed. Childhood wounds, abandonment fears, past betrayals, they rise like shadows, and your nervous system sounds the alarm. So you convince yourself it's their fault, but before you leave, slow down, ask yourself, what am I really avoiding? Is it them, or is it the version of me that shows up in intimacy? Sometimes we think we're protecting ourselves, but we're actually sabotaging something that could grow us. Real relationships hold up mirrors. They show you your strengths, your softness, and your scars, and if you're always running from the mirror, you'll never get to see your reflection fully healed. This doesn't mean tolerate disrespect or ignore red flags. But don't confuse discomfort with danger. Not every trigger is a threat. Some are invitations to look deeper, to communicate better, to finally face the patterns that keep repeating. Growth doesn't always look like escape. Sometimes it looks like staying, not to suffer, but to understand. Most breakdowns in love don't begin with betrayal. They begin with silence. You feel like they should just know how to love you. You expect them to read your mind, anticipate your needs, speak your emotional language without being taught. But love doesn't work like that. Expecting without expressing is a fast track to resentment. The truth is, most people aren't withholding love. They just don't know what version of love you need, and if you never tell them, you're setting them up to fail. Communication isn't about nagging, it's about guidance. It's giving them the manual so they have a chance to meet you where you are. And yeah, it feels vulnerable. It feels like too much sometimes, but what's the alternative? Slowly shutting down while blaming someone for not understanding the signals you never clearly sent. Relationships aren't psychic games, they're built through clarity. So ask yourself honestly, have I clearly expressed what I need or just hoped they'd guess it? You don't have to stay in spaces where you're constantly misunderstood. But before you leave, at least make sure you gave them a fair chance to understand. When love gets hard, many people choose silence, but that silence, it builds walls, and eventually, even the best intentions can't break through. Before you walk away, speak. Not to force them to change, but to make sure you didn't abandon yourself by staying quiet. Real connection doesn't begin with assumptions. It begins where assumptions end. A lot of what we call hurt is really just a trigger. It's an old wound being touched by a present moment. They didn't text back and suddenly you're spiraling. You tell yourself it means they don't care. But maybe they were just busy. Maybe it's not about them at all. Maybe it's about that moment when someone ghosted you years ago, when a parent forgot to pick you up, when love felt unreliable. That pain didn't start here. It started way back, and now it's resurfacing. And unless you pause, breathe, and reflect, you'll keep blaming the person in front of you for the damage done by someone behind you. It's not about fault. It's about awareness, because when you confuse your trauma with their behavior, you react from fear, not truth, and you end up pushing away the very thing that's trying to love you. That's why emotional maturity isn't about never feeling triggered. It's about learning not to let your wounds speak for you. Relationships are going to test you. They'll trigger your deepest fears, but that doesn't mean they're wrong. It means they're real. So before you lash out, before you shut down, before you label them the villain, ask yourself, is this really about now, or am I bleeding from something I never cleaned up? That question alone can save everything. You're not broken for feeling, you're just human, but healing starts when you stop giving your past the microphone in your present, when you learn to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. That's where real love has room to grow. Love isn't always easy. We've been sold this idea that if it's real, it'll be smooth. No friction, no tension, no hard conversations. But real love, deep, mature, transformative love, is messy. It's two people with different pasts, different triggers, different needs trying to build something unified. Of course, it's going to get uncomfortable, but discomfort doesn't mean something's wrong. It might mean something's working. It might mean you're growing. We confuse struggle with toxicity, but sometimes that friction isn't dysfunction. It's a mirror reflecting your growth. It's a partner challenging you to break your own patterns. And yeah, sometimes love feels like work, but the kind of work that refines you, not destroys you. You have to learn how to tell the difference between discomfort that's asking you to evolve and pain that's asking you to leave. Because not all storms are meant to be escaped. Some are meant to be navigated. You don't grow by running from the fire. You grow by learning how to hold your ground in the heat. So next time love feels hard, don't rush to label it wrong. Sit in it, talk through it, ask better questions. Is this connection challenging me in a way that's helping me grow? Or is it breaking me? That distinction is everything. Because when you stop expecting comfort to equal compatibility, you give real love the room to unfold, not as a fantasy, but as something solid, lived, and earned. Here's the hard truth. Sometimes you're not the one being misunderstood. Sometimes you're the one who's hard to understand, the one who shuts down, the one who withdraws, the one who expects grace but struggles to give guidance. And that doesn't make you unworthy of love, but it does make you responsible for how you show up. You can't expect someone to navigate your storm if you refuse to give them a map. You say you want connection, but do you open your heart or just build walls? You say you want loyalty, but are you loyal to your own healing? You want someone patient, consistent, all in, but are you? Relationships are mirrors. You get what you give, and if you're only ever pointing out their faults without looking at your patterns, you're not growing. You're projecting. You want vulnerability, be vulnerable. You want communication, then speak your truth even when it's hard. You want to heal, then stop isolating every time it gets real. Because the truth is, healing doesn't happen alone. It happens in connection, in letting someone see you, in being held where you used to hide. That kind of love takes work. It takes ownership. But if you're lucky enough to find someone who's willing to show up, patient, kind, open, don't push them away. Don't punish them for wounds they didn't cause. Let them in. Let them learn you. Let them love you, even in the places you're still learning to love yourself. That's not weakness. That's healing. That's where everything begins.